welcome back to our channel. I'm Kristina from As Told by Canadian Immigrants.
And I'm Paul from Kenny's Concepts.
And we're here to share our immigration story with you from start to kind of finish, since we're not in Canada anymore right now.
Not quite so, we're going to share that story. Yep, from start to kind of finish, as Kristina mentioned.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. So now you're in Canada. You don't have no family. You and your wife. When you went there, was housing arranged? Did you stay somewhere temporary? What was it like assimilating into this new country? You know, jobs, housing, community, friends. Like, how was that?
Yeah, it was pretty seamless to some extent. We had the experience of moving to another country through Cayman, right? So that was good. So we had that general kind of experience on how to navigate and move generally, right?
You don't have family in Cayman?
No family in Cayman either. But as you can imagine, any move is huge, right? And depending on countries, there are enough nuances and just different vibes that you have to consider and think about. But anyway, I said what the great thing for us, which was a true blessing, was that Cayman allowed us the ability to prep for a move to Canada.
Yeah, that's good.
Particularly from a financial perspective, that's super important. You know, you're able to have the resources to do the things you need to. So before we moved, we had secured our apartment. We had started applying for jobs. My wife, China, actually got a phone call and was doing some preliminary interviews before we actually even landed. Yep.
And that's on your own. That's on her own. She never go through no agent or not like that. Just her looking for jobs. No. Nice. At
the time, no. But she did eventually have to engage an agent, and that's effectively how she eventually got her foot in the door. So thankful for that. But again, we were able to secure our apartment. That was a stress because because we moved to Canada, we got no credit score, we got no history, we got nothing. So the only thing they were left to ask us is literally our blood type. We had to give them 4 months up front. Then we had to give them post-dated checks for the entire year, and then they wanted references from such and such and such, and
really?
had to give them
because
bank
this is a
statements.
Legit apartment, probably run by like property management.
Yeah, I think that was a vibe, you know. So we had to give them everything, you know, including bank statements and stuff like that. But ultimately, it worked out, and we got in. As you can imagine, that was about September, so the place not too cold. You know, I think roughly we were at the first time we did feel 13. I was like, damn, that is cold.
Oh.
And right, that was the thinking at the time. We never have a car. We weren't working at the time. You know, we had to lug our grocery. Luckily, we had a grocery store across the street, but we had to carry our grocery across the street. Familiarizing yourself with transit and how that works. You know, we never know anybody, but at that time, you know, I'm big on networking, and I definitely implore everybody that, you know, whatever the opportunity is, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, definitely network. So, you know, I began to start reaching out to people that I had known there, you know, people that I would have gone to high school with, or, you know, some other interaction, you know. So those people were helped to, you know, provide some support, give me some advice, you know, things to do, you know, where to get your Presto card, you know, which is our transit card in Canada to use TTC and stuff. So yeah, we did that, and it was generally good, and we were just kind of at that time working towards just getting settled, which took a little time, you know, but that was our thing, you know. How about you? What was your initial, like, when you landed? I know you landed, you say you jump on a bus, head to school in a few days. What was your initial transition like in Canada?
Quick. Whoosh. Off into the deep end. I think that I'm super grateful that I did have family, right? I wasn't coming to no man's land by myself. I think it's like probably even invaluable that you had your wife, you guys had each other, you know what I mean? So I get to the airport, my aunt and my cousin picked me up, thank God. And I was actually with them for the entire time I was in school. So I mean, my first day of school, my cousin took me to school, hold my hand,
Nice.
walk me to the bus stop.
You never cry. You never
No,
cry.
I never. No, she come with me all the way to school. Not put me on the bus, she come with me. Yeah, nice. So I mean, I think I had that blessing, and so it was pretty easy to kind of get my groove because I had somebody holding my hand. Nice. But also, I feel like school is like this safe place for people, I think. You know that next year you're going to second year, and the following year you're going to third year. Your life for the next 4 years is planned out. Even if it's just 1 year, your life for the next 1 year is planned out. You don't really have to think about it until it's done. And so I get there, I'm going to school. I don't have to think about I don't think about housing. I just need to get to school and don't get my homework done. And so nice. It was good that was the situation versus having to go and find a job, I think. And so, you get there, and I swear to you, I was surprised at the diversity at Humboldt, the level of diversity. At the same time, I didn't know. I don't think I had thought of what to expect.
Yeah.
But that's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So being in the class, there's a few Africans, there's some there are more, also Indians at the school. No one Canadian in my class.
Okay.
And so, it's easy to make friends and have a community when you're going to school. So I think that was simple. I think the challenge, not necessarily the challenge, but the out of the fishbowl, out of the nest kind of experience was school done now, find a job. And this is where I kind of moved out of my aunt's house because my workplace was like by bus 3 hours from where my aunt.
Wow.
And it took me 3 hours to get to my interview, and I got there just in time.
Wow.
So this is where I moved out, and it was easy to find an apartment. And at the time, especially compared to now, things were a lot more affordable in terms of rent and the cost of living and stuff like that. So I found an apartment pretty quickly. It was a basement apartment.
Nice.
Moved in and started my job right out of school. So that was also a second blessing, that I never really had a lot of idle time to really worry and bite my teeth, my nails and stuff like that. So I feel like it was pretty somewhat some extent seamless. The most stressful part is all of the immigration application, them waiting for them to process and all of that stuff. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
And those were paper applications at the time, or they had online submission? You never had to do any paper applications?
They had, so the express entry was definitely online.
Yeah.
But while I was waiting for express entry, I had to bridge my work permit. Because I sent in my application 12 days before my work permit would expire.
Got you.
So at the time, I don't know that I'm 100% correct in saying that there was only a paper application at the time. That is what the information that I found said. Yeah. But also, when you do a paper application, you have the benefit of them waiting to get the mail, opening the mail, and then I needed that time for my permanent resident application to get to some place that by the time I look on it, them say, oh, all right, her application is further along. Because
don't go through.
Really and truly, when you send in a bridge application, you're supposed to have some sort of approval in principle for permanent residency, and I mean that wasn't the case for me. So there was the benefit of that. Citizenship application is a paper application. I don't know if it's changed, but 100% when I was doing it, it was a paper application.
Yeah, still a paper application for that one. Nice. So it generally sounds like, I say your transition was pretty seamless. I say, go to school, jump out of school, get a job. Yeah. For me at the time, so my wife, she got a job, so she was effectively good to go, just waiting to start. Me, I was in the financial industry at the time, trying to transition, and that was tough. So, at the time, I wasn't catching anything, was at home and was like, hey, I need something to do. I started to do like the H&R Block tax course. I did that. I was working with H&R Block for the tax season. So I did that for a bit, obviously that was a part-time gig. And it was months, I think 4 to 5 months until I really got a role back in my field. At that time as well, I was like, hey, let me go back to school. So that's when I actually started to do the immigration consultancy. Yeah, and did that. So I started doing that, and then eventually I got a job. But yeah, lots of frustration there for me. I know a lot of frustration for many even people that I know in transitioning, particularly career-wise. But the good thing, and one thing I'll definitely say to everybody listening, is that I haven't heard a situation thus far, knock on wood, where it hasn't worked out. Some people may take 1 month or 1 day. Some people may take 6 months. But, when you constantly grind at it and, do the necessary things that you do and make the connections and network, yeah, I've found that it works out. So it definitely takes some resilience, So don't come to Canada thinking it's going to be a magic.
A pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Exactly, not at all. It's going to take a lot, for sure. And
I think that is the justification even behind the amount of money that they want you to show that you have in your bank account for express entry, because it's not. It is because it could take some time for you to get back on your feet, and it's important to have some sort of a financial reserve, so that you're not. You have to pay rent, you have to eat at minimum. You don't have a car, which I think that I delayed getting a car until after I got permanent residency, and I was there. So I was a student for a year, I worked for a year, and then it took about 6 or so months, so 2.5 years, and I'm like, I'm not getting a car. If I have to leave this country, I want to just pack up my suitcase and go. Don't worry about nothing. But also, you have to think about insurance, car insurance, the car payments, whatever, gas, whatever. So yeah, you definitely want to have that money that they say for real. Like, I know people who kind of like take a loan and show it and then pay back the loan and then don't have the money. And it's like, you need that. You might just need that money. There's a reason that them tell you to have it. All right. So you said that you're in finance, right? So like, what was your job like in Jamaica and then to Cayman, and then when you come to Canada, like, what were you looking for? What were your expectations job wise?
Yeah, nice. So yes, I started out at Bank of Jamaica. So I was effectively a part of the regulator there. I started out as a statistics officer and then transitioned to bank examination. So I was a bank examiner, and then I got into policy in that field. So from that, I was able to get a job in Cayman as a policy officer with the regulator in Cayman. So that was a smooth transition. So effectively thinking about coming to Canada, I was like, hey, the first thing you want to do is try to leverage what you already know and what you already have experience in. So I was thinking, OSTFI or one of those places, FinTrack, to see, how that could work. Not TD at the time. Go back into that type of thing. But it didn't work out. Applied. It never worked out. But eventually, as mentioned, I just took because I knew that, hey, based on what I've heard, it doesn't happen for everybody, but I know that a possibility is that you have to start from scratch. So I just made up my mind that, this is the situation. And then you come to Canada and not fit and not directly jump in. So if I start out as a little customer service for H&R Block during the tax season, then so be it. And eventually it transitioned, and I eventually landed a job at TD in policy, and that was my career path up until most recent departure.
I know, right? So it's like throwing you a little bit. Okay, cool.
How about you? In terms of career, what did you study? What were you thinking about doing in Canada? What you eventually landed in? What was that vibe for you?
I feel like school ended up being this is how I'm going to get to Canada. So I don't tell my daddy that that it's like going, I had it figured out in terms of career path, because I didn't, right? I studied architecture in Jamaica. And when we went with the immigration consultant at the time, it was like, all right, you want to go to Canada, school, based on your profile right now, school is your best bet. We looked in our booklets of the schools and like, what do they have for animation? Then the guy was like, you want to choose something that is going to make you marketable, that's also going to go well with your already existing architecture degree. So maybe not, right? Project management. And And the thing is that I had some project management experience, working like part-time, but also like in projects at school, right? So I'm like, all right, project management, I like it. I like it. And then of course my daddy's like, okay, you're going to kind of study project management. He started telling me all kind of things about project management and the demand for project managers all over the world and all of that stuff. I'm like, all right, it's so nice, I'm on the right path. Went to school.
I like your daddy, by the way. I like your daddy. Sound like a nice chap.
Yeah, man. And if you research the head out or anything, I send it to you. Sometimes I have to be like, Daddy, can you just read and give me a summary? So I get in, I'm in school, and I can do school. You know what I mean? I can go to school and study anything. I can do school. So I think I was just focusing on getting school done, and then now the job is always coming to an end. I'm like, all right, what do I want to do? And I was looking more for jobs in project management because I know what getting into architecture is like anywhere in the world, but especially in a world where you haven't studied architecture. So I was looking for I was actually looking for a draftsperson job. Okay. Draftsperson and project manager, project coordinator, because I was just fresh. So I was looking for something there I could marry the two. And then I landed in a company that actually a friend of mine from Jamaica was working at, and I'm like, what you do sounds kind of lame, but I need a job. You gonna give me my resume? No, I'm like happy because I've been there for like 6 years, right? But it was like I get in there as a drafter and I'm just drawing. Then because I had a project management background, they were doing some internal changes, perfect timing, and I was put into a project coordinator role, and I happen to like the project management and project coordinator way more than I like drafting, and so I kind of stayed on that side and then moved up into like a project management role and then operations manager role. So I can't like just speaking about it. It actually sounds a little bit bizarre. I'm just like blessed, and I just like I definitely have to thank God just the way how things went, because I've seen people struggle. I've seen it, and I was there by myself. And so when I say by myself, I just mean I don't have no child, I don't have no spouse, nothing to worry about in that case. And I see people come with children, can't get a job, and you see like how you were there. Of course, it's stressful, you're not being able to get a job, but you were able to make a decision. You know what, I have to start over, and your wife has a job, so she's working, so you have some financial support there. Yeah. But you don't have a child. I feel like, especially now since I have a child, like of course back then you understand, but like I saw people come and they have their children and they have to make some like tough calls, and they have to like rush things, and they have to their expectations aren't met, and they have to like make some really rash decisions because they have to support or provide for their child, right? And then child care is another thing.
So I've heard it is crazy in Canada.
It is. Now imagine the cost of childcare pre-COVID and now yeah. So I mean that was my experience at my career path. I mean I'm still working at the same company. I'm the operations manager and the project manager, and I've been able to kind of marry my architectural knowledge with project management, and I feel like I'm where I kind of want to be.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to pluck from that story as well is the fact that your friend was able to pass along your resume. And that was similar to my story as well, because that's how I got my footing at a financial institute. Well,
right, I remember hearing that podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a friend of mine. We went to college together, and I reached out to her and I was like, hey, looking for a job, things kind of tough. And she was like, you know what, they're hiring for a junior role. It's not anything great, work mind numbing, but if you want it, I can put in a word. I was like, well, if I want it, of course I want it. Put it in, and she put it in. I got the job. So work was in fact entry level and mind numbing, but I was super grateful. I started it and did what I had to do. And that was my stepping block into, getting my career to where I wanted it to be in Canada.
Good friends.
Yeah, man, good friends. Yeah, better than pocket money,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Because I was actually ready to go to British Columbia.
Okay. Okay.
I knew that the job market in Toronto is tough. Not based on my experience, but just based on what I've read. But also, I had people who, not many, a few people before me that kind of struggled to get a job, but also they were worried about the length of their work permit. And so they end up doing school a second time to get a longer work permit. So I knew somebody who had done exactly what I did, architecture and then project management, and then left and went to Alberta. Got a good job in Alberta, went. So I'm like, all right.
Open at the freezer.
Yeah. So I was actually applying to jobs in BC and Alberta, and I actually had some interviews lined up, ready to go to BC. But I feel like the person that I know who took the same path is a guy. It's probably, of course, there's less concern to send a man out, wherever, to go live wherever, with whoever. It's different. I wasn't really concerned for myself. I don't know. I was a lot more fearless than I am now. I was ready. I was like, I have family in California. It's just south of BC. If anything.
Close enough. If anything.
Nice. And that wasn't sharing in my logic. And my aunt was like, okay. But that silent. Auntie, it's not sold. My mommy wasn't very, very sold on it either. I was like, right, you know what? Let me just look in Toronto. And actually, some company found my resume on Indeed in Vaughan. Okay. At the time, I was living in Milton, so in Vaughan. Found my resume. I went to an interview, and I'm like, all right, maybe there's jobs in Toronto. Maybe. Yeah. And then I said, gave my resume to my friend. I'm like, all right, let's see about this job that you say is probably available. And here I am.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, that was my second interview, and that's where I haven't been to an interview since. My resume rusty.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks be to God.
Amen. Hallelujah.
For sure.
Amen.
For sure. Nice. So that's it for today, guys. I am Paul from Kenny's Concepts.
I'm Kristina from As Told by Canadian Immigrants.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Definitely check out our respective channels and stay tuned for this piece of the Kristina Paul story.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that wonderful stuff. See you in the video.
Bye, guys.